forward to it. Anything else for that, Aaron?
One more.
You sure, Tracy?
Okay, so we're live.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We need to review the canvassing of the general election, Tuesday's election. And certify them. Is that correct?
It better be correct.
Okay, should we go pretty smooth
Should, I agree.
for you?
Should. Okay, you got a couple documents in front of you. This particular one here is race by race, candidate by candidate. And so basically what happens is the ballots are fed into the tabulating machine. The tabulating machine produces this report. I take this report and I load it onto this sheet. This sheet is then loaded into, after I verify it, loaded into the state's website, which then is connected to the media site, which is where our media outlets get their results. Any questions on that?
So that's the Secretary of State gets that.
You get the
form
numbers.
to the numbers, and then they, all media pulls up there.
Yep, I use this spreadsheet because it does the math for me. And then once I get the totals, then I enter the totals. But what we need to do is have you examine my work on a precinct by precinct basis. So basically what you're doing is you're saying, Doug, did junior people do this right? So if you're comfortable with that at the end, then you do the certificate. Okay. Does that prompt any questions? Okay, so the easiest way to do this is normally if there would be one more commissioner, it would be easier, but I'm going to substitute. So we'll start with precinct number 1. So if you look on your first page, you'll see that the races are in order. So for example, on the sheet, I have U.S. Senator, U.S. Representative, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, et cetera, et cetera. So right now, we're going to concentrate on precinct number 1 in each of those races. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, so we'll just start with the first one, make sure that you guys are all on the same page. So this is precinct 1, and this is for United States Senator. Banks, 16, Lesnar, 20, Thune, 239.
I've got 249.
Okay, I'm going to explain. Thank you for pointing that out. The reason for that is this particular tape was then accompanied by the rerunning of ballots that were rejected by the machine, or because we, and I believe it was we, Carolyn and I, in our office, we gave an absentee voter the wrong ballot. So what happens then is in precinct 5, you're going to see we have one voter who voted for Johnson. So those two items together add up to 240.
Where does it show on here that one voter voted for Johnson?
Instead of being 239 off the page, it's not 240. It goes here. Those are results.
These are the totals.
Correct.
It doesn't show on the sheet.
So
Right.
is this report something that gets spit out or something that you manually enter?
After I entered in the centralized database, that produces that report. I shouldn't say it produces that report, because originally all of this was in a big long line. And when it was doing pages, it would shave things in half. So I rearranged the races. Okay, so everybody comfortable so far?
Yep.
Okay, the next race is for U.S. Representative, precinct 1, Grell, 27, Johnson, 239. And then
Same thing again.
Yep, Dusty Johnson had 1 vote. Yep, so just to reiterate, this tape is the result of that 1 ballot that we gave to the wrong voter. Okay? So now we're up to Governor and Lieutenant Governor. Smith, 30, Quint, 3, Christie Nome, 240. And then we have 1 vote for Christie Nome. Secretary of State. Cool, 30, Johnson, 237. This split, one vote for Johnson. Still doing good, are we? Okay, Attorney General, 238 and 1. We should have a total of 239. You will follow on, Jan?
Yep.
Okay.
Who
State,
said Jim or Jan?
Jan,
So I look at Jim.
Jim, both of you.
Got it.
He knows I'm not gonna do
I could have been saying.
That's true. Okay, so now we're at State Auditor, Stephanie Marty, 28 votes. Hold on a second, because my tape's lined up. Meyer was 10, Stat Gas was 219, and then one ballot showed a vote for Stat Gas for 220. Treasurer Cunningham, 20, Hager, 239, and then the ballot 5 was 1 for Hager. Azure, 26, and then Greenfield was 228, and the 1 extra vote for Greenfield. PUC, Barr, 33, Nelson, 227. And this voter voted for Nelson. We're now up to State Senator. And this is Brian Breitling, 218 and 1. State Representative, J.D. Wagons, 179 and 1. Scott Moore, 187. And then what's your next race, Dan?
County Commissioner.
Okay,
Then precinct.
right. There was 1 vote for Schaefer's. Okay, so this is gonna just hang there for a minute. So if you want to write a note on there that there's 1 in there.
Sorry, just have a small question. The last meeting, Scott, were the 187, so there wasn't 186 plus somebody one?
No.
Somebody must be voted for one.
Yep, so what it's called is an undervote,
Okay. No.
because it's not being voted to potential people who left it blank. Okay, Supreme Court justices, correct? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes votes, 214, and this is Salter. 214.
We're on the circuit court.
I'm sorry. You got circuit court?
Circuit court.
Okay, so they're not in order. That's just agreed. Well, maybe entertain with me and skip to the Supreme Court justice?
Sure.
Tell me when you're ready.
Yep.
Devaney, 216 and 1, and no was 17. Salter, 214 and 1, 19 votes no. Now we can go to the circuit court.
Got a question on that, where you only have one choice. You vote for them, yes or no. So if they get more no votes than yes votes,
They're employed.
they're unemployed and you're gonna appoint somebody. See? Anyways,
So if you're a circuit court judge, or if you're any candidate and you have that type of deal, it basically allows you to look and see what the public opinion will have. Do they like me or do they not like me? So the thing that is interesting when you get to the circuit court judges, but the first one we're going to do is Carmen Deans, if you want to find hers. So out of a possible 278 votes, she got 145 plus 1. 133 people didn't vote at all. So they just didn't offer an opinion at all.
Yeah.
Okay? So the next vote for the next candidate I have is Belcher, which is 146 and 1. And then Shelton is 149 and 1. Stoltenberg, 142 and 1. And then the contest between Spears is 54, and Moore's 108 plus 1, for a total of 109. Proposition, excuse me.
Oh, circuit court, yeah.
F. Okay, F, Patrick Martin, 134 and 1. Constitutional Amendment B, 122 yes, 142 plus 1 no. Initiated measure 27, 54 yes, 219 plus 1 no. Any questions on that? Numbers look good. I put total. Okay, we'll go grab another ribbon.
So I called just the phone this evening, Senator Tech, she called me back about these counties that hand counted and what the results were there. Tripp County hand counted all their ballots, and then they ran them through the tabulator. Now they've got quite a problem because I called and talked to one of the county commissioners down there just to make sure we're getting it from the horse's mouth. One of their precincts, they had 356 votes. The poll book showed 356 votes. They hand counted them. Then when they ran them through the machine only accredited 281 votes to that precinct. It rejected a bunch of the ballots because they were the wrong ballots for that precinct. And some of the ballots that were stamped, the machine said that there was no stamp, but they were clearly stamped.
Didn't the resolution board work on that?
Well, they had 75 ballots that were in question. They haven't certified yet. They're being told that they have to certify the machine count. Why would the hand count, when the hand count matches the poll book, and two people came up with the same hand count, why would that not be the number they certify? But they've got a dilemma down there because
My question would be is when the resolution board didn't resolve those ballots.
well, yeah, the thing of it is if they had only counted with the machine, and the machine came up with 281 legitimate votes for that precinct, the resolution board has to resolve it anyway, because the poll book says it has 356 votes. You know, so I don't,
Honestly, they shouldn't have left. They could make them count.
do what,
They shouldn't have left until they could make them count.
yeah, but so this commissioner didn't know what they were gonna do as far as certifying theirs, because they're told they're supposed to take the machine down. So, I don't know. Like I said, I verified it, I talked to the commissioner from that precinct, and he said, we got a problem.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Guys ready for 2?
Yep.
All right, so in 2, we had the same thing happen. So of course, we learned from this by getting, making sure that people get the right ballot. But we can tell you that it would have had no impact on that race, or any races. They were far enough apart that it doesn't compromise the results. So we're gonna have 2 tapes on this one too. The original ones that are in the proper spot were 266 ballots, and then there were 2 that were rejected by the machine. The resolution board did them, and then we reran them all by themselves to get the results. Does that make sense? So just like he's saying, the ballot was put in the machine didn't like what it saw, kicks it back. The resolution board then looks at the ballot, tries to determine the voter's intent if they can. And so in this case, and this is what I found out afterwards, is that because we used red ink for the ballot stamp, if it wasn't dark enough, the machine said it wasn't there. So we kick it back out to the resolution board. Because you remember they had that one ballot where they're like, oh, this is perfect. Yeah. So more than likely, it was the ballot stamp wasn't dark enough. So again, we take that, we write a no, we don't use red ink, switch to black, blue, green. Okay?
I was thinking about that too, the machine doesn't give a reason.
Sometimes it does. If it's completely blank, it'll say that it's blank.
It's kind of
But
interesting.
yeah.
Obviously, it knows what it.
Right, it identifies the problem.
It knows what the problem is, it just seems like it should display that, I mean, it shouldn't be a secret.
Would have been cool, wouldn't it? Right. Check your ballot. All right, so we're back to banks. All along, precinct 2 now. 38 and 1. Lesnar, 14. Thune, 212 and 1. Duprell, 36. Dusty Johnson, 218 and 2. Governor's race, Smith, 52 and 1. Quint, 9.
Well, 52 and 1?
Yep.
We've got a total of 52.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna continue, and we'll see what we can do to resolve that. Quint, 9. Nome, 197 and 1. Secretary of State, Cool, 61 and 1. Johnson, 195 and 1. Attorney General, 227 and 2. State Auditor, 45 and 1. Meyer at 10. Statcast at 198 and 1. Cunningham, 45 and 1. Hager, 210 and 1. Peace, or no, this is School of Public Lands. Azure, 47 and 1. Greenfield, 190 and 1. PUC, Barth, 50 and 1. Nelson, 203 and 1. Senator, Brian Franklin, 207 and 2. State Representative, Wagsness, 197 and 1. Scott Moore, 146 and 1. Supreme Court Justice Retention, this is the one where we got to skip a little bit forward. Everybody there? Yeah, Supreme Court Justice. The other one, the big one. Devaney, 214 and 1. No votes, 27 and 1. Salter, 212 and 1. No votes, 26 and 1. Back to the Circuit Court Judges, position A. Carmen Means, 154 and 2. Elsher, 149 and 2. Shelton, 162 and 2. Stoltenberg, 144 and 2. Spears, 71 and 1. Moore, 105 and 1. Party, 141 and 2. Constitutional Amendment B, 141 and 2. No votes, 113 and 0. Initiated Measure 27, 96 and 1. No votes, 163 and 1. Okay. There were no Area 5 in here. So let's see what we have. Okay, I circled Smith with 52 and 1. Precinct 2, Smith, 52 and 1. Okay, that is an error on my part. I changed this to 53. I re-entered in the state system as 53. And no correction. Okay?
So there should be 53 here.
Yep. And this is why we do this.
Interesting, you get a sense of the two absentee voters.
one Republican and one Democrat.
Yeah, and then older.
Precinct 3. Two tapes. This again was, the original tape was ran, and then the resoluted ballots were ran separately by themselves.
Did that, every one of them have a extra ones in the room? All precincts,
So that's
the
it.
precincts for a ballot that can run through the second time.
No, not all of them. Nope. What we did learn too is that we shouldn't run the final tape until the resolution board just finishes it off, and they'd be on the computer. I was under the impression that we had to do it separately, and that wasn't accurate. Doesn't change anything, except for it would take
More tapes.
less time.
Yeah.
So that it takes a significant amount of time to print these things.
So the resolution board comes up with resolve of this ballot that won't feed in. They remark a new ballot, correct?
They have the choice of marking the ballot, so for example, there was a voter who marked X's instead of filling the ovals. They fill the ovals and have the feeders refeed it. Okay, you ready? Precinct 3 again, let me double check, yep, 3. First race is for senator, Bangs, 53 and 2. Lesnar, 6 and 1. Boone, 259 and 2. State representative, U.S. representative, Duprell, 46 and 4. Johnson, 261 and 1. Governor, Smith, 76 and 2. Quinn, 12 and 0. Nome, 229 and 3. Secretary of State, Cool, 81 and 2. Johnson, 219 and 3. Attorney General, Jackley, 268 and 1. Is that all?
No, it's interesting how some people are not voting, absent, and they don't really blank or whatever.
Yes. 52 and 4 chose not to participate on that one. Okay, State Auditor, Marty, 66 and 3. Meyer, 11 and 2. Statgas, 223 and 0. State Treasurer, Cunningham, 63 and 1. Hayter, 240 and 3. School and Public Lands, Azure, 71 and 2. Greenfield, 216 and 3. PUC, Barth, 61 and 2. Nelson, 236 and 2. State Senator, Franklin, 240 and 3. State Representative, Wagsmith, 215 and 1. Moore, 177 and 2. Supreme Court Justice Retention, Devaney. Tell me when you get there. Are you ready? Yes, 230 and 3. No votes, 39 and 1. For Judge Salter, 228 and 3. The no votes were 41 and 1. Now back to the circuit court judges. Position A. Ready? 154 and 3. Position B for Elsher, 154 and 3. For Shelton, 162 and 3. For Stoltenberg, 151 and 3. The contested race for Spears, 68 and 1. Moore, 123 and 2. Position F, Patrick Party, 146 and 3. Constitutional Amendment B, yes votes 172 and 2, no votes 133 and 2. Initiated Measure 27, yes votes 105 and 3, no votes 206 and 1.
Spit out a stupid tomorrow.
What they learned.
How's everybody doing? Our meeting's big yet?
I could use a break.
Could you?
Coffee, cookies or something.
No, but there's some candy.
Other.
But you're not better. So you can have a candy, but you have to have an insulin chaser.
There you go.
Precinct number 4. We have a total of 343 voters. Bangs, 57. Lesnar, 50. Boone, 269. There's no second tape on it.
You want to do that?
Nope. U.S. Representative Duprell, 50. Johnson, 276. Governor's race, Smith, 81. Quint, 3. Nome, 254. Secretary of State, Thomas Cool, 85. Monet Johnson, 231. Attorney General, Jackson, 258. State Auditor, Martin, 77. Meyer, 17. Statcast, 232. State Treasurer, Cunningham, 58. Hager, 267. School and Public Lands, Azure, 74. Greenfield, 238. PUC, Barth, 80. Nelson, 243. State Senator, Brian Brightling, 249. State Representative, Wagsmith, 201. Moore, 180. Supreme Court Justice Retention for Devane, 234 yes, 47 no. For Justice Salter, 236 yes, 42 no. Circuit Court Position A, Carmen Means, 148. Position B, Elshire, 146. Position
I won't pay.
148.
Yep. Precinct 4, Shelton? No.
Shelton.
Precinct 4, okay, that needs to be changed. I have 148, so I must have looked at Herman Means, because that's 148, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna change that.
You said, we have 148 or no?
Yes, because that's what I put
Okay.
on here before I loaded the computer. The actual tape shows 146. So what happened is, well, my helper, who normally reads me the results, left. So I was reading them.
You, so you go back on the Secretary of State site and correct that number then?
Yep. Yep, so the other thing that we would have had, if we had them, is like provisional ballots, where somebody showed up at the poll, their name wasn't on the list, but they were steadfast and, hey, I'm supposed to be here. Then it comes back to me and I investigate and determine if it's true or not, we would add those as well, if we had them. So The system is designed to go over that. Okay, ready to move on? Shelton, 170. Position D, Stoltenberg, 143. Position E, Spears, 81. Moore, 112. Position F, Party, 137. Constitutional Amendment B. Yes, 182. No, 151. Initiating Measure 27, 102 yes, 232 no. Precinct 5. 312 voters in precinct 5. Hold on a second. Yep. Okay, so what happened here is we again have that one ballot that swapped, and we talked about that at the very beginning. So you're gonna have, this represents 2 ballots. And then the actual 5 are back here. So what happened in this case is we got 2 for the rest of the world, and it was 5. That's why this happened. So, we have under Thune, 2 votes. For Dusty Johnson, there were 2 votes. For Nolan, there were 2 votes. For Cool, there were 2 votes. For Jackley, there was 1 vote. For Martin, there was 1 vote and 1 for Statgas. For Cunningham, there were 2. You only do these by totals, as opposed to single.
Well, I don't think we can all do that.
All right, let's do that.
I guess I'll,
So I'll sit-
write it down.
I'll put 5 up here next to one, we'll do it. 5 at the top, gentlemen, 5 at the top. Ready? Yep. Things, 31. Lesnar, 14. Thune, 257 and 2. Is that better? Duprell, 34. Johnson, 259 and 2. Governor, Smith, 48. Quint, 8. No, 250 and 2. Secretary of State, Cool, 46 and 2. Johnson, 247. Attorney General, Jackley, 270 and 1. State Auditor, Marty, 38 and 1. Meyer,
I've got
38. Okay. Stephanie Martin is fine. And tip says 38. And 1. Treasurer.
Yeah, finish auditor.
Finish auditors.
Okay. Statgas.
No, Meyer, we didn't do Meyer yet.
Oh, Renee Meyer. She had 10 votes. Statgas, 249 and 1. Cunningham, 36 and 2. Cater, 258. School and Public Land, Azure, 43 and 2. Greenfield, 247. Public Utilities Commission, Barb, 54 and 1. Nelson, 245 and 1. Brian Brightman, 246. State Representative, Wagsness, 182. Moore, 205. Supreme Court Justice Retention, Devaney, 235.
Are we
What was your next raise? Yes,
commissioner?
okay.
But we have been going straight across.
What's that?
But we have been going straight across the Supreme Court justice.
Yeah,
No, but District 5 and Precinct 5 was the commissioner's race.
I got it.
You ever read that?
Yep. No, we didn't do it,
Okay.
but I got it. Ready? Hornsman, 170, Schaefer's 133. I was reading off the wrong page. Because this portion has it on here, and this portion does not. Okay, so now we're to Justice Retention Division. 235 and 1.
No votes except in 35. And moving forward, with these elections, there's gonna have to be somebody designated that will stay until the end.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it sucks bad doing this right now. It really does.
You know,
There's just too many moving parts, and it's almost midnight. We've been at work since 5 in the morning, it's shitty. What's that? Is everybody watching? I heard you swear. Oh,
For 236?
yes, sir. 40 votes, no. Supreme Court Justice Retention, Salter, 232 and 1.
you could. Anyway.
Gunshot. No votes, 39.
And what?
You have one?
You got 4 votes.
All right. Salter, 39. Okay, position A, Third Circuit, means 180. Position B, Elsher, 178. Position C, Shelton, 179. Position D, Stoltenberg, 174 and 1. Position E, Spears, 56. Moore, 148 and 1. Position F, Party, 175. Constitutional Amendment B, yes votes, 119 and 2. No votes, 180. Initiated Measure, 27. Yes votes, 66 and 1. No votes, 236 and 1. All right. Any questions so far? So you have a choice. You can either meet again, or once I redo this, the first contest. And then moving into the system, we go over again, your choice. Do you wanna wait, or do you wanna have a second meeting?
I would
Wait,
say-
probably, that seems like a big burn.
Take me longer to start the computers and then.
I say we wait to get it done with.
There's a way down there. Okay. Yeah, much later. The other county that they didn't hand count their ballots, but they hand counted their ballots to double check the tabulator. But they announced, they picked a couple precincts, and they announced it before the election, which two precincts in Fall River, Custer, right? Fall River County is Custer, I think. Fall River County, they announced which two precincts they were gonna hand out to check the tabulators on the marijuana and the Medicaid. They both got voted down in those two precincts that they announced before they were gonna hand out. Those two measures got voted down 80% to 20%. The other precincts in the county, those two measures were right at 50-50.
Interesting.
That seems strange, it's like, so, did the people think, okay, we know they're gonna count it, maybe we better, vote differently? I don't know why the other, because most counties, precincts will vary back and forth some, but 80 to 20%, the rest of the precincts are basically 50-50 on those two topics. It's straight.
That's not,
And that's not a random audit when they announce before the election which precincts they're gonna audit. For it to be a random audit, you would have to run everything through the tabulator and then say, okay, we're gonna draw a card or draw a pill or, but whatever, and then hand out those precincts, but. Yeah,
But apparently their hand count or hand read came up the same.
the hand count of the two precincts, they were off one vote on one precinct. That could have been the tabulator, could have been human error, or hand count. It was so close they didn't count them again, I guess, but they just thought it was funny that
Those margins are different.
pardon?
That those margins were so different.
The margins were so different on the two that they announced that they were gonna hand count, so, don't know why that. But like I said, you usually don't get that across the county. It might, maybe the city and rural areas might vary some, but, and I don't know whether these were both in town or both rural or, no idea what they were, but they were certainly different anyway.
What that's in, everything comes to it and enter. All the precincts report.
It's true. I thought it was interesting that the Associated Press, called John Thune the winner with 4%
4%.
of the precincts reported. Were you watching election results that night?
I watched a little bit, but I didn't. I know they called it really early.
The AP called that one 4% reported. It's I mean, it was correct, but that's a great assumption.
Windy. This year, but Texas is pretty good. People live in your basement.
The heat's already on.
Well, the state had 59.4% turnout and Kent County had
midterm election is the only desirable. Percentage wise.
The presidential is.
Seems kind of low. I just think there's a lot of confusion with people on like the issue measures and those kind of things. What way is it I really voting? Let's do a little research.
Marijuana in 20 in Han County was, like, I think roughly 55% for marijuana and 45% against. This time it was 29% for and 71% against. I really think the wording of the ballot was confusing, you know. But somebody was talking about that Whole Stone Foods slaughterhouse thing in Sioux Falls. Vote, if you don't want them to build a slaughterhouse, vote yes. But if you know,
From here,
It's-
four, and.
yeah, not all those,
So those you really gotta, if you just show it up and did research and
Yeah.
you would be confused.
yeah.
There's a lot of people do that.
Even, I had reviewed the ballots in paper, you know, read them through extensively. Had it in my mind how I'm gonna vote. When you get there and you gotta check that box, you're like, am I sure? You know, I mean, literally, you have reviewed it. You know what you're gonna vote. And you're like, I better read that again.
Well, there was one ballot that had to put through the resolution board, and then somebody had brought white out with them. And whited it out, drew in a circle, and colored it in the other one. The machine kicked it back out, and, so they came prepared, I guess.
I guess. That's a first one. Wow.
Why did not draw any circle?
Did you hear what Louisiana did?
The what?
Louisiana tried to change the, how do I want to put this, they're basically saying that they voted to keep slavery as part of their constitution, but what they were trying to do was change the way they can make somebody work without them wanting to. So like a prisoner doesn't get the choice to work, you have to work. And they call it involuntary servitude. And if you voted yes, then you voted for more involuntary servitude versus if you voted no, if you stayed the way it was. And then because it was so confusing, they got out and said, okay, everybody just vote no, just leave it alone, we'll try to get it next time. Because the way that they voted it, they were trying to take it away, but they actually added more. That's been a big controversy today. Louisiana voted to keep slavery on the Constitution. Look into the facts, people.
Sometimes these wordings on the ballot, you can't convince me it's a mistake. You absolutely cannot convince me it's a mistake. It's an intentional misleading of the voter.
Well,
I would be curious about that process. Wording on a ballot, what that has to, who approves that, and who comes with the wording. There's gotta be a committee or something like that.
So what you guys decided to do tonight? Okay, precinct number 2, the race is governor. Yes, yeah,
Here's the message.
no, speed. Should be,
Yep, there's a-
53 is what it should read. For Mr. Smith, 9 for Quint, 198 for no. Match?
Yes.
Okay. The next race is state auditor in precinct 5.
Bottom right corner.
What page?
Front page, bottom right corner.
Ready? Yep. Okay. The results are Marty, 39, Meyer, 10, Statcast, 250, precinct 5. Agree? Agree. The next race is Supreme Court Justice Mark Salter. And this is again precinct 5.
Councilman Porter. What is that?
All there? Okay. Yes votes 233, no votes 39. Do you agree? And then the next one is Patricia Devaney, same precinct. Yes votes 236, no votes 40. Okay. The last correction is in precinct 4, Circuit Court Judge B on Elsher. Are you ready? Okay. 146 votes.
The four.
Yeah, precinct 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so take the original one and 2 of you tear it in half.
The original one?
2 of you tear it in half.
Okay, carrot four.
Yep. And I'll throw them away. Those of you who still have one, I need you just to write a comment on it. That it was the first version, and that needed correction. And then if you'd all just sign that.
Sign both of them.
Should be, yes. 2 of them. One that we keep here and one that the Secretary of State signs. Go ahead and pass it around. Oh, and then those of you that are done signing, you can take your second version and put, that it's the final version, and then sign it.
We just need to do the next one.
Here's the first version. You know, you can do all of the revisions, you can all sign, it doesn't matter, because then I can post one outside. Prove to everybody you guys are doing your job.
You can write final on here.
Yep, final version. And that, my good people, is how that's supposed to work. Rotate.
That's
One paper, John.
This is nothing. Okay? Now, before the chairman is the certificate that says that you are all satisfied with the final version of the count. And you're prepared to certify it and send it to the Secretary of State's office to be reviewed by the state canvassing board.
Luke's on here, does that matter?
It says that it should be, the board should be comprised of at least a majority of the members. So no, it doesn't matter that it's not here, because you do have a quorum.
Okay.
So, what we need to do is make a motion to approve the certification of the results.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
And here you go.
He was in
I said aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
And Jen, for your benefit, Jeff is here representing Jim Jones. because the statute allows for somebody to keep here in their absence. We probably didn't have time to find somebody.
Oh. I just remembered,
What did you just remember?
Luke sent me a text. He says, I will not be there, you can give me a call.
Oh,
That he could not have participated in the canvas by phone anyway. I mean, he's not looking at any document. He could maybe by proxy have Jan sign for him.
if she was sitting here actually reviewing the results. Yeah, she should have been handled at the beginning, but it's fine.
I'll just give him a call with him.
I talked to him.
We did. He knew he didn't have to be here.
It happens. But you're right, the end of the night should not be left to one person.
And I guess I will say, that I was present for the tabulation. What do you think? I thought it was very well run, very professional. I thought that there was a few things that came up, you knew what to do, and moved along on the night, so I thought it was good. The only thing that I can think of to make it, you're always gonna have issues, but the other thing to make it better is, I mean, obviously nobody wants to be here at midnight putting the stuff, so you don't want to speed the system up and make more errors, but be more efficient. I assume if you didn't have the issue of the wrong ballots for their own precinct, that would kind of sped things up quite a bit, so.
Yep, and so what Carolyn and I even talked about to avoid that is like when you do the primary, you have a Democrat and Republican ballots, they're actually have a band that's covered.
Yeah.
And so we talked about that, and if we have this situation again where we have an identical ballot except one race, that we would ask them to manufacture it in such a way that it stands out like sort of thing.
Yeah, and it sounds like the issue that came up, you know.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine what it would look like in even Huron or Aberdeen, you know, because we're dealing with a handful of rejected ballots that need to be scrutinized.
I did see, looking on election night on, Secretary of State website, that Cottington County was in, like, they had
Really?
100% precinct, and, like, I think it was before we left,
Wow.
or before I left. I don't know how they do things, but.
The state law doesn't allow starting any tabulation before the polls close, does it? Or does it?
It does, because like we could do our absentees in the office, but we choose not to. So, yeah, we had 529 absentee voters, which is an outstanding number. I think we only had, I'm gonna say less than 6 that we sent out to, that didn't return. So all in all, it's a good turnout.
Did any of those that you mailed out then end up voting, election day at the poll, or do you know?
I won't know until I go in and do the voter histories, which is where I go through every person on the list. And then I enter their ID number, then record whether they voted absentee or in person. Yeah, that's still all done by hand. My homework assignment. Okay, any questions, comments, concerns? All right, who wants to move to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
You really vote not to adjourn?
Huh?
You was the last one in FAA. We were talking on that you don't vote
You
on that.
cannot vote, it's just motion and second.
Yeah. Yep. The chairman declares it. That's what we were talking about. I don't have my part of the pro book anywhere, handy, so.
Well,
Either.
it depends on which rules, you know.
Doug, thanks for all the work you put into the election.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm amazed that every number that we said, wait a minute, that don't match, you figured it out immediately. I would say that, I don't know if there's an auditor in the state that knows their election like you do, but
Oh, yeah.
we certainly appreciate your work.
Thank you. My biggest advantage is that I know almost all of the voters, you know, so those misplaced ballots might have been me just saying, oh yeah, they live up there. Instead of putting an extra step on make sure they didn't vote.
We've discussed that a little bit, like the canvassing group and these mail forwarding services. They got, that auditor in that county has no way to know whether those people are legitimate or not without just basically checking into each one individual.
Right. And to be honest with you, there is a pretty decent mechanism to do it, because, you know, the sheriff's office has that IDI core program that does those, like, civil backgrounds. And, you got a hang of those. I do, squeeze it back. And so literally what that thing does is it produces a report, and it'll tell you like the address of everything utilities. And it'll tell you the duration of time that they spent there. So there were a couple that I checked and had him check, and then I also compared it to the game warden, you know, because they do license fraud stuff. And so they have access to another database that does essentially the same thing. And so one of them is being referred to investigation to see if it's dual residency thing. Yeah, we talked about that. Yep. Jan, any questions? None whatsoever? Well, that's pretty good, an hour and 5 minutes. Huh?
You said.
Well, if I hadn't messed up, it probably would have. Okay, thank you all. Safe travels. Roads are good. Thank goodness. You wanna know